grows.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Whoa, now. What's happening, people? Hoping everybody is having a great day. Welcome to the Reality Check for Wednesday afternoon. And, of course, we got company, so we got to get down to the nitty-gritty and make sure that everybody is a part of the conversation. Our number, 504-582-9422. Make sure that you're a part of that conversation. 504-582-9422. So let's get down to it, because all of our folks are in the building from LCMC. We have our favorite here. She is our favorite. She likes when I say that, Dr. Tillery. I don't know if I did anything to her or not, but, you know.
He always gets me in trouble when he says that, too.
That's our favorite. Dr. Flowers. Hey.
Glad to be back.
Wait a minute. What's this? This is May? June?
June.
This ain't your first time this year, though, huh?
No, it's not.
The second.
Mm-hmm.
Second time, because I was going to say Happy New Year. This your first time this year. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Is it?
It is the first
Happy
time
New Year. Happy New Year. Dr. Tillery. Yeah, we got to get you in the microphone.
All right.
Dr. Tillery, how you doing?
Doing okay. Can't complain. I appreciate you.
Welcome
having
back.
me.
Well, welcome back. So
Thank you.
This is Men's Health Men's Month of Men's Health Month.
Men's Health Month.
Uh-oh. There's a history here.
Definitely. We just had this conversation.
Yeah, there's a history here, though, but the history is she getting ready to use all the stuff. And don't you tell her I said this either. But she's getting ready to use all the stuff that she's going to talk about and ask me about my health and make sure that I'm following the protocols that she's getting ready to bring up. Don't tell Dr. Flowers that I told you that, though. But, okay, Dr. Flowers. Men's Health Month with LCMC. What does that mean if we had to define it with a definition?
Sure. This is a time where we focus on men's health.
Mm-hmm.
Wide range of ways to do better, ways to watch what you're doing, monitor, look at certain issues, look at your prostate, making sure you're getting all your screenings. So it's a time when we focus on men's health, both physical and mental.
Dr. Tillery, when we start talking about men, and if we had to break down men getting prostate checks, checking for cancers, What do you see as a doctor with men? Are they scared? Are they saying, "Oh, I don't need to do that"? Are you getting those type of pushbacks? Or are you getting a lot of men now that are saying, "I'm coming in to see you"?
Well, honestly, we're seeing a lot more, and that's very, very encouraging. So whatever we're doing, it's working. There used to be a stigma; it'd be that the wife or the significant other would give you grief for a year, and suddenly you go in there and you find out your pressure's 190 over whatever. And so it's kind of like, oh, I didn't know I had that. Well, you probably would have had we checked it. So whereas it used to be a bragging right to say I haven't seen a doctor in 5 years. Well, now they're not doing that as much, but.
I just want to throw this out here before you move on. You're not helping me at all because she's giving me the look right now. There's a history here I was trying to tell you, and you jump right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well,
The blood pressure.
we look because we care. We fuss because we care.
Mm-hmm.
You want to check it before we leave today?
No, I got it already. I already did it. But LCMC is my primary, so I went to go see the folks over at St. Thomas, and they found out Dr. Johnson, she was over there, and she found out that my blood pressure was off the charts. So she stood there for a minute, and she just stared at me. And I was like, why are you just staring? You're not saying anything. She said, I don't know if I should admit you.
Oh, wow.
Or if I should just, curse you out right here. She said, your blood pressure's way too high, and I'm not going to let you leave until we get it down.
That's awesome.
So,
I encourage that kind of behavior.
yeah. So I had to hear the preaching because I had no idea because I didn't feel anything wrong.
That's the thing.
The silent killer.
Silent
Right.
killer.
I didn't feel anything wrong. It was like 210.
Wow.
She's like, you stroke.
Yeah,
You're about to have a stroke.
Definitely. 230 would be where you'd be care, but anything that's considered a hypertensive urgency. So
Yeah.
definitely I need to address it.
And then I got put on the monitor. So now I can do my own blood pressure. It'll
Good.
go over the phone or whatever that is.
Excellent.
It
And then
communicates
they
like-
can look at it in my file right there. So now I have Dr. Who, I think that's her name, Dr. Yu or Who, at St. Thomas. She calls me. She's like, we're getting ready to do what I really like is the technology that you all bring to the table. And that is, she's like, we're going to have an appointment, but you don't even need to leave your house. Just hit the link on the computer and it snaps and goes
Home
into
monitoring.
something doing all the home monitoring
Yes.
stuff.
Excellent.
And I can see her, she can see me. We sitting there and she's like, okay, you look good. You look fine. But you still need to come in.
Exactly. Well, they need to see that everything is intact, but also, they've even added that with diabetes. There's 2 units out there, the Freestyle and the Dexcom, and the numbers go up with each entity. But it can communicate. They set up a profile, and your doctor can see. And the doctor can see how your sugars are going, and let you know at your appointment. They can say, hey, well, it looks like your sugars are running high at a certain time in the evening, so we may need to increase your insulin or whatever that medication is at that time so we can prevent it.
A special time of the day?
Definitely. It's going to be based upon diet. You'll see an increase or decrease. Certain insulins are long-acting, some are short-acting, and we can alter based upon that. Even sometimes you can take a long-acting, which is 24 hours in duration, and space them out at 12 hours so that you're getting coverage throughout.
I don't know how many men have this problem, but I'm noticing that with age that I do. And that problem is after I eat,
Definitely.
I'm out. I'm ready to go to sleep. What is that? Is that
You want the
I'm
slang
just-
term?
No, I already know. But I noticed that's with me now. After you eat, you just want to go to sleep.
Well, one of the things that could lead to that is anybody who has what they have called truncal obesity, meaning you carry your weight up top, every chest, every stomach, a lot of fat around the torso. You can
That
see
would be me. That would be me.
Right. What you can see is that there'll be what they have what's called daytime somnolence. That's developed because when you're overnight, when you go into what's called REM sleep, your random eye movement sleep, that's when that's your good quality sleep. But what happens is people who do that, their throat kind of closes up and they develop a condition known as obstructive sleep apnea. There are some ways to combat that, but first and foremost, you need to see your doctor, discuss the symptoms, and he can order you a sleep study.
Yeah. So I did the sleep study 3 or 4 years ago. And they want you to do the CPAP machine.
That's it.
That don't work for me.
Well, there are some other options. I know there's a new technique to do that, but then always last but not least, they can go in and do what they call a palatoplasty, and they can go in and take that loose airway and kind of tighten it up a little bit.
Okay, so they can do it's surgery then.
Definitely, but they encourage. I mean, other than that, while you're doing that or using the CPAP, would be weight loss and increasing exercise, working on diet, and now with these new medications they have for diabetics that are also really good with
Weight loss?
obesity. Right. The called GLP-1s. They
Right.
have been they're changing the game. They're just expensive, but they're changing the game.
Do y'all recommend those? For what is it now? Because there's a new one. Is tirzepatide? Is it
Right.
tirzepatide?
Right.
Is that a new one, or is that just another fancy name for it?
No, it's
So I
been
know
around for
semaglutide and
right, and that's branded as Ozempic, and then you have Mounjaro. The way we kind of correlate that is it's basically just two medications that we're using that are kind of leading the charge.
Mhm.
However, you have Ozempic, which is the cleared for diabetes, and then you have what's called it's slipping. I'm going to say Zepbound. That's going to be
right.
something similar, and that's going to be the same generic name. The difference is in the indications. One is going to be for weight loss. One is for diabetes.
So let me ask both of you because I want your opinion on this because I know a lot of gentlemen that have asked me about it because I actually got on here and told everybody at one point that I was taking the semaglutide shots.
Mhm.
Right.
And I did lose the weight. I did start losing the weight, but there were some other complications that I don't necessarily need to get on the air and tell everybody about it. But it was some other complications that happened to make me get off of it.
Right.
And since that time that I got off of it, it looked like everything just went.
Right back to normal.
So if you don't have a consistent taking of the drug, the injections, you're going to go right back up, or
Definitely.
even worse.
There have been studies that have shown that can definitely happen. Because what happens is what's leading and directing the weight loss is, number one, the GLP-1s, they mimic the hormone that's made when you're full, the satiety hormone.
Okay.
Number two, it slows gastric emptying, so you feel full sooner as well. So those two things, that's why you can see worsening in symptoms like reflux and things like that when you take it. What becomes the issue with those side effects, and one that is not talked about enough, is pancreatitis is one of the side effects,
Right.
and I do ask you about those type.
Right. And that was interesting for me because of the when I did stop taking it, I was ready to go back. And the young lady that was the nurse that was helping me, she was like, "You can't go back to the same dosage."
Right, and it can be
'Cause
dose dependent.
Mine was way up there. I was
Right.
up there. She's like, "You got to start all over again."
Exactly, because you have to gradually. You're going to have nausea. You're going to have some people vomiting,
Right.
and so we really suggest doing that. Or if you find a dose, kind of what is your peak number where you're not
Right.
having the side effects, and just leave it at that level.
Yeah, but that was the interesting part to me, man. Now they're coming out. Seems to me like every day now you hear and see that it's either semaglutide, Ozempic, all the rest of them too, and now the tirzepatide or whichever
Right.
it is. So it's those medicines. Is that price coming down though? And if you had to, as the doctors, talk to a person that wanted to get out of the obesity levels, do you all have those conversations with them like, look, these are the things that you got to be able to look out for. These are the things that you need to do. It's not just taking a shot and thinking that you're going to, drop all this weight all of a sudden. And what's healthy and what's not healthy is weight loss.
Well, I think it's important, first of all, to understand how the medications work, to understand the side effects, and also know what to do to counter the side effects.
Because I think there's some counseling that needs to be happening with the folks.
Sure, people need to have those conversations with their provider so that they're clear about the implications and expectations too.
Right. Expectations, what's healthy, what's not healthy as far as weight loss is concerned.
Well, for ages, we've called a healthy amount of weight loss would be basically like 1.5 to 2 pounds a week would be considered, which is, I mean, significant at 8 pounds a month. Well, with some of these, the issue is that the person really, I can remember at times that where we had samples say, hey, let's see what the effects are so I can discuss it, where going to bed and forgetting that you wake up in the morning and goes, did I eat last night? So you don't even feel hungry enough
I had
to do
those
it.
too. I had
Or
those.
you'll have where you fix food, and then by the time you've made it, suddenly
I'm not even hungry.
I'm not even hungry anymore.
Right.
And so, but what happens is you still have to make sure you're supplementing protein, because there's weight loss where you're losing fat, but also if you don't bring in enough protein, your body will start attacking the muscle because it needs protein, and that's going to be your primary source of protein.
One of the issues that we bring up when we start talking about men, and I know that part of the problem is sometimes I ask questions, but I already know what the problem is, and one of those is exercise.
Right.
You just can't take that shot and just think that everything is going to go away, and you're not going to have some flab, or you're not doing.
Right.
It's not going to happen that way. The lady that does my injections, she told me that you're talking maybe 1.5 pounds to 3 pounds a week, if that's healthy for the injections, and you have to have some regimen of exercise.
Definitely. And actually, what we promote is lifestyle change, because that's what happens when people have that. If people have cosmetic surgery and they get liposuction, if you go back to eating the same things you did before and maintain the sedentary lifestyle, then fat cells expand. You can go right back to that size. They get the liposuction, or the BBL and all those things. They get them and say, hey, but I can go back. I'm going to eat the same things. And voila, 1 to 2 years.
What you doing with the BBLs, man?
They're quite prevalent in the community these days.
Really?
So, definitely. From what I'm told.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Please do.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Please do.
Well, if you know Dr. Tillery said that, I wanted to make sure we clarify. Let me get back to this, because it says parts of the Men's Health Month focus is also men's mental health.
Yeah.
I know that's your pet peeve, and I know you
Yes.
wanna try to expound upon what it is, because there's so many different things. I need you all to see a movie. It's not about men.
Okay.
What I'm getting ready to ask you to see.
Straw.
Yep. You
I've
saw
heard
it?
about it.
I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it. Really?
Ooh, I cried like a baby. That's number one. And I was on a plane. So, the stewardess came up to me. She was like, sir.
Oh, my
you okay?"
goodness.
I was not expecting it. But I recommend that everybody sees and pay attention to that movie, because it's a mental health. I mean, it's just a mental health explosion. And it has everything. I don't want to give it away, but it has everything to do with mental health. And it tells you and gives you the definition of how people can snap just that quick when there are so many things that are coming at them all at once.
The cumulative effect of
Right.
all of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend, Dr. Flowers, when you start talking about men's mental health? Because I
Sure.
think that we go through just as much as anybody else.
Oh, and perhaps
Maybe
even
even
more.
more. Right.
Yeah. And, there was a study that was done of girls and boys on the playground.
Mm-hmm.
And what they noticed was girls together on the playground, little girls, were just talking and had lots of conversation with each other. However, when they looked at the little boys, they didn't have as much conversation, but they were doing things like playing airplanes and trucks, and they were making sounds like zoom and
Just the boy thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
just doing that. And so the whole premise of that research is that women tend to have more social networks where they share and they talk. Men tend not to have those same kind of social networks, and they don't have those kind of deep conversations.
They don't?
Not in sharing on the same level. Most of the time, especially if you look in the African American community, where you see that is one of our leaders at LCMC Health. We just did a segment on men's health, and you know him, C.J. Marbley, who is doing dual roles both at NOE and
Right.
at University Medical Center, focusing on chief nursing officer, chief operating officer. He's Mr. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was saying that even when men sit, they don't sit facing each other. They usually sit where they're looking forward, and they may look over at each other. But they don't have the same type of emotional social connections
You
that
gonna make
women
me
have.
pay attention to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
they
did the same thing.
we don't face.
Not necessarily face to face. No. And literally the issue is that women having more social networks and where they are, it seems to be more socially acceptable
Mhm.
to open up and to share. We have those contacts, and men don't necessarily have those same levels of
I guess
deep
I'm a little
contacts.
different then. I guess I'm scared to really have a face to not to have a face to face, but to have a conversation with another brother that is something deep that I'm really getting ready to have a conversation, and I can't look in your face, and you look at mine.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be able to look at you as I'm having these conversations to see what's your facial expressions. Can I judge that person enough to say that you're getting what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
or are you lying to me, or telling me the truth, and be able to maybe even assess that?
But look what you do it for a living.
Exactly.
You talk for a living.
Right.
So that's a part of your makeup.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of casually interviewing people, even in your personal life.
Okay.
But really, men typically are not necessarily having that deep level of conversation, and definitely not necessarily having it in groups. And I would say the one place where that may be a little different is in the barbershops. And that's where you expect to hear conversation,
Mhm.
but it all, it's going to go to a certain level. It's not necessarily always going to get that deep and personal. So men seem to me to be carrying a lot of things inside and not sharing outside. And so the issues that they're facing every day just begin to accumulate. Think of it as like a pop bottle shaking up. And once you finally
It
take the top
explodes.
off, exactly.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the issues that men are dealing with, they don't necessarily know what to do with that information and how to share it in a way that's going to be productive for them.
As a male doctor,
Yes.
do you feel that your patients be like, let me tell you what's going on with me? Do you get that from other men? Do you have the men that look you in the face as you're getting ready to talk to them about, hey, here's what I see with you. This is your diagnosis. Because you got to really kind of understand what's going on with that person. Just being able to say, this is what I see, this is what your chart's saying, isn't necessarily saying how I feel.
Exactly. And I think that it's you can pick up on it. You have some people who will express, some will even overexpress.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes, and I think it's just based upon nurturing. You look at it as a young man. If you fall, you scratch your knee. Man, stop crying. Be a man.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
and so
but that's
you
how
want
we
to-
came up.
Exactly.
You
You're
know,
told to basically internalize everything.
Right,
And,
right.
it's, I got broad shoulders. I can handle it. But, depending on what's going on, there's a time you can handle it, but you're still trying to maintain a positive face. And so it as you described with the Coke bottle, it just eventually explodes.
Yeah.
Because I know that as we were coming up, when I was coming up, boy, you fall down, scrape your knee, or hurt yourself, whatever. That you were told to suck it up,
Exactly.
Stop that crying.
stop that crying.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a man.
Mhm.
Stop that crying, and especially if it had something to do with emotions.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Suck it up. Be a man. Don't let nobody see you crying. But that came from another man, and then it started coming from the women,
Mhm.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
which I thought women were the most. I'm sorry, but emotional. And understanding, let your feelings out. Not
But
necessarily.
Also, if there wasn't a man there to say it to
Mhm.
that man, then the idea is, as a woman or as a mother or a sister, whatever, I don't want you to be soft.
Yeah,
So then it
Yeah.
was even harder.
right.
Definitely.
All right. I tell you what we'll do. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. We'll have some more conversation. Y'all can call in too. Don't just take all this in and not ask no questions, especially the men. 504-582-9422. More coming up next.
Hey, WBOK 1230 family. This is Angie from the Sincerely Angie podcast. Make sure you're tuning in every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to Conversations with Ron Richardson, where the conversations are all the way live and informative. Conversations with Ron Richardson every Saturday on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time, tickets, and safety information.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
WBOK, online at WBOK1230.com.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Our number 504-582-9422. Our guest in the building from LCMC, Dr. Flowers, who is one of our regulars. She's not even guest anymore. She's just coming in and she's gonna host the show. I still put that out there.
You always do that. Yeah.
Dr. Tillery, who has been a friend of not only the show but myself for, good Lord, 20 years. It's 20 years at least.
I gotta say somewhere close.
Yeah, it's somewhere close to about 20 years. Awesome. How is the church working with, especially with African American males? How is the church working with not only African American males but with the providers of health care?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, as you know, we are launching our faith-based initiative. And for those of you that have churches with health ministries, get in touch with me. Let me know. We have room. We are hoping to launch in the next probably 45 days, maybe 60 at the latest.
Okay.
But I would tell you that my pastor just recently, he passed away a little over a month ago.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear that.
Just thank you, 71 years young. And he had 2 strokes and 2 mini strokes. And what we're seeing is a lot of faith-based leaders, men, that are having strokes. And I don't know that it's an epidemic yet, but I would tell you that all of our hospitals, all of the LCMC Health adult hospitals, have a special designation as a stroke center. And this designation means that we're functioning at the highest level of quality and patient safety for strokes. And I will tell you that as I've looked at the data, that Black men between 44 and 62, I believe it is, are having more strokes than any of our other patient population. And as the data says, if you have diabetes or hypertension, then you have a higher propensity to have a second stroke. Yes, so we are actually putting together a program to help educate African-American women and men about this data. And this is our data. This is happening right here in the greater New Orleans area. So when you talk about what is the church doing, I am grateful that a lot of churches are beginning to have health ministries because they recognize You know, think about the prayer line. The prayer line is so long because
Right.
people have health issues
Right.
and are having health problems. But the issue often is that the pastors are having health issues too. And so the fact that they're starting these health ministries is really great because they can do things like have blood pressure Sundays so that you can at least get your blood pressure checked on a regular basis, even if you don't have the home monitoring. Or if you're not seeing your doctor regularly, you can at least get your blood pressure checked. And there's other opportunities for screenings and other things like health fairs to be able to not only offer these things to the congregations, but to the community where the churches are in as well. So I'm happy to say that a lot more churches are beginning to have church health ministries.
But if they want to be a part, and
Yeah.
and they can call you and have that conversation.
Yes,
And how do they?
they
do
can
that?
email me.
Okay.
It's the best way to reach me.
Mm-hmm.
And these are, if your church has a health ministry, right now those are churches that we're focusing on because we want to assist them.
Right.
And later we'll have opportunity to help churches that
To
want
get
to
new
start.
people in.
Yeah.
Right.
But if your church already has a health ministry, you can email me at Tony, TONI.flowers, like the plants, FLOWERS, at lcmchealth.org. Tony.flowers@lcmchealth.org. Please, if you email me, the name of your church, your health ministry leader, and your pastor's name.
Okay. All right. Get ready for the diabetes questions because it's coming. But let's go to Ronald first. Ronald?
Yes, sir. Can I be heard?
Yeah. How you doing?
Doing fine. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Doing well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. I'm 48 years old. I'll be 49 in a few months. And
Happy
I
birthday
just
in
started on my
advance.
health. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I started my health journey last year. I was like type 1 diabetes. I was pushing 380 pounds in the month of October of last year. I just had a colonoscopy in February. Yeah, February. Everything came out okay. Going into that, I lost some pounds. I'm down to 265 now.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I have a long way to go. And I have other procedures coming up. I have a gastroenterology appointment coming up real soon. So I'm trying to get everything in order.
Congratulations.
With my health and everything. And I know this is very important for everybody because we're losing our young people to health problems. I lost a brother. He died at 44 years old a few years back, and he had health problems. And when that happened to him, I said, you know what, I need to get on top of this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I was just doing it to myself, man. Let's be honest with you. I was doing it to myself.
So let me ask you a question. The question that I had for you, what was your motivation? Was it the fact that your brother, what was the motivation to say, I need to get on top of this?
Well, you know, I already had the knowledge of health-wise. I was into holistic health back in the early part of the 2000s. I used to be on like herbs, alternative medicine, and everything of that nature. And you know, I was really into that, and I just lost track after Katrina, and just the pound just started building up, and then when I started these bad vices, it just made it worse. And like I said, during my brother's passing, I was damn near 400, man, and it was crazy. I'm like, no way. And it's like you don't feel it, but you see it, and I know people see it.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that I'm walking around thinking everything okay, and I know it's not. So yes, the motivation was that was part of it. But I know if I just stop the drinking, stop the foolishness, and get back to basics. So no more of this processed eating, no more of this fried stuff, no more of this putting in bad food in me now. I'm just cutting my meals down to like 1 or 2 meals a day. I'm intermittent and fasting. First thing in the morning, I talk to God, and I just basically anything past 12 o'clock in the noon, that's when I start eating. I don't eat anything in the first part of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I started losing the weight. and every day I'm drinking teas, like spearmint teas, lemon teas. So, I'm doing the best that I can. But like I said, I have a long way to go. And like I said, I have these other procedures coming up. And I just want to stay on top. And basically, I just want to talk about, as far as what's really important is reaching out to people as far as, how can I put this? Like basically what I'm doing right now, talking to somebody who can relate. When I try to reach out to family members and everything of that nature, I get no feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself going to AI, man. That's crazy. AI is like a bridge and a gap of anything. Anything you have on your mind, you put it in AI, it would like literally level everything out for you the way you want it. And I'm putting everything on the AI, whether it be Gemini, ChatGPT, or DeepSeek or whatever, and it's laying out all the outlines as far as me how to get it in order. Even with the Bible, I'm just basically simplifying everything down to a science where I can actually absorb it and take it in day by day, man. And it's hard, but it's fair.
Oh yeah,
it's necessary.
Yeah. It's necessary.
And it's sad that I'm talking with AI. AI is talking back to me, and actually, no judgment. They're just laying out everything, and it's crazy. It's amazing the type of information.
That just sounds like motivation, bro. That really sounds like some motivation. But let me give Dr. Tillery here a minute, because I see too that, as a doctor, when you hear a gentleman say, this is, I saw this and I had to get this. What's your take on what he's just saying about him losing all of that weight and what he has to do to keep going? He's saying he's got a long way to go.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, sometimes it takes motivation. We were talking earlier about sometimes you'll have somebody, they stop smoking after they have their first heart attack. Mm-hmm. Well, why couldn't it have been before that? So first off, I want to definitely commend you on your progress. We definitely don't want to minimize that. I did have a question, though. You said you were type 1, because typically type 1 is what they would call juvenile. Type 2 is the one that you gain from being obese as your body becomes resistant to the insulin that you're making. So I don't know. But if they told you they were type 1, usually there's some testing that was done.
I may have been mistaken. I have the results on my laptop, and I'm not able to retrieve it right now. But it's to the level where
not a problem.
When I first went to the hospital, they said, "Man, you need to slow down and level this out." Because my blood pressure was high.
Okay.
And for my last doctor visit, everything was like, wow, it was like the same accolades y'all giving me. Yo, what are you saying? Whatever you doing, keep up the good work, man. That's what they were saying to me.
Hey, can I interject for a second? Do you recall what the hemoglobin A1C was? Hemoglobin A1C is a lab that monitors for diabetes, where it's going to tell you basically over the last 3 months what has your blood sugar averaged. Mm. And we'll use that oftentimes to diagnose, with 6.5 being the cutoff.
Right, sure.
And then we'll look at what they call glucose intolerance, which is usually the range they give you is like 5.6 right up to the 6.4, with anything more than that being diabetic.
7, you're diabetic.
Yes.
No ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Wow.
Exactly. And 15, you're really poorly controlled. But that person, because we do see some of those, is going to be where they're usually going to present either to the emergency department or to the office. They're going to be drinking a lot of water. They're urinating all the time, and that's usually the way it will present. That's why we encourage to go get your annual screening exams from your doctor. Get those labs done and check on yourself and see what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times people will take better care of their vehicle than they take care of their own body. And so we definitely encourage them to get on board. And like I said, I'm the primary care director at New Orleans East Hospital. But at the same time, we're definitely accepting appointments. But if you don't come see me, I want you to see somebody. Go get checked.
That's right.
Ronald, thank you, man.
Dr. Tillery?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Is that Dr. Tillery? Hey, man, if it's possible, is there a way y'all can talk to you about this at all?
Most definitely. We can, I guess we can make a phone number available, 504-592-6000. 6600. If you call that number, then and just ask for scheduling, and they can definitely get you scheduled with me.
592-6600 here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
All right, Ronald.
Thank you so
man.
much.
Congratulations. Keep it up. All right, Mr. Ed, hold on. We coming back. We got to take a break here. More coming up next.
He says something.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is rolling out a plan to teach financial literacy in all schools by 2030.
We have to learn treasury bonds and chemical bonds. We have to learn how to save, how to use our money.
Starting next school year, 15 districts will get financial educators to lead workshops and help students and families build smart money habits. Organizers of the No Kings protest have announced another nationwide demonstration for July 17th honoring black civil rights icon John Lewis. Over 2,000 protests took place Saturday against Trump's military parade, which they say drew millions and marked one of the largest demonstrations in U.S. history. And Winsome Earl Sears is now the official Republican nominee for Virginia governor after running unopposed in the primary. She'll face Democrat Abigail Spanberger. Earl Sears is the first black woman and Republican to earn the nomination. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. I know that I am past my time with our guest today, but this is such a good conversation. We definitely want to go a few more minutes here. I'm going to hold them over. Dr. Flowers, Dr. Tillery, LCMC, talking about Men's Health Month. And Mr. Ed, you're on. What you say? How you doing?
Ed Robinson.
Hey, sir.
Hey, Dr. Tillery.
Yes, sir.
I know I got another appointment with you. I know I don't.
Wait.
Plenty of patience.
You gonna make the appointment?
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
He knows that. But I'm on the Moderna and I don't lose weight. You know.
You don't lose weight?
I haven't lost any weight.
What you eat?
I go to a doctor you recommend me at the hospital over there. She's strictly a diabetic doctor.
Okay.
I can't think of her name. She's a foreigner. I can't think of her name.
Dr. Biddle.
Yeah.
But can't you turn them up? Can't you try?
Right. Well, typically it's titrated. What happens is we'll start off at the lowest dose, which is 2.5. You can. I tend to be a bit aggressive the first few months to get you up. Like we can go up each month to that 10 milligram dose. Now from 10 to 12.5 and the 15, I tend to do about 3 months in between because sometimes there's some issues with tolerability of increasing it too much. But I'd say sometimes it's just getting to that threshold level that works for you. You know, now if you're on 15 milligrams and you're not losing, well, then we need to work on another plan.
Yeah, I'm not that high.
Okay.
I think I'm on 10 once a week on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. And I have to go to VA because of my disability. But I was at 6.1.
Okay.
For my AC1. But I'm still at about 290.
Okay. Now, are you incorporating any exercise into this as well? Are you incorporating any exercise into this as well, or any exertion?
A little bit, because I'm going to physical therapy. I had knee surgery.
Okay.
And, I haven't been able to really. I got a problem with my lap band on my right.
Mm-hmm.
So they sending me to physical therapy for that right now. VA is. But, I've been taking the Moderna a while, and, of course, I take the shot once a day and take a pill once a day.
Okay.
But I just figured why I haven't, lost any weight with it, and I don't eat a lot.
Right. But, one of the things you can do with is the fact that if you have something that's affecting your mobility, then you're not going to walk around as much. You're not going to exert yourself as much. And so those things are going to be counterproductive with respect to weight loss. I'm sure Dr. Menem is checking your labs to see your thyroid level and other things because that can contribute as well if you were hypothyroid. But typically, if you've seen me, I've done a TSH, and we would have addressed that at this point in time. So
Right.
I would
Yes, I
encourage
have
you when you
another
come
appointment
in
with you
to
soon.
remind me about this conversation, and then we can look at some other modalities that might be effective.
Gotcha. Yeah, I work every day, so I mean, I'm not like sitting at the house, you know.
Okay.
I'm 80. I'll be 81 coming up.
Okay.
But
Fantastic.
I thought you was in your 60s.
it might look like that. But I'll be 81 in September. Gerard, don't start no mess on
I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone. But you
But
guys
when I
work
heard
together.
my doctor on the
definitely.
radio, I had to call in, and you know, I know I got an appointment coming up with him, but I like to be sure that what's going on, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you're a
Especially with
listener.
Kidneys, I'll be worrying about kidneys and other stuff. You know, I want to be here for at least 100. You know.
Well, I'll definitely work with you. Ultimately, I don't control that, but at the same time, I'll definitely work with you on achieving that.
Yeah, that part. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but yeah, I heard you on, and I know you're a good doctor. That's why I come to you.
Well, thank you so
All
much.
right.
Most definitely.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, Gerard.
I appreciate it. You have a great
Thank you,
evening.
sir. All right. We're gonna come right back to you. But Kevin.
Hey, I'll be right fast. I know you were telling me. I have more like a comment. With coding screening, they say it's going up on young people and especially the black male community. My gripe is I already did it. I did like my doctor had me did it at the age of 45. My dad died of colon, so all my brothers have to do it. I did it 4 times successful. My question is, because there's just an increase of people dying of colon, that we have something to stop it. I'm not talking about the smear test. I'm talking about doing a good colon screening. I like to challenge the medical community and the pharmacy community. It's not the colon itself, but the prep. People feel that they cannot go a whole day without strict liquid. Is there a way that the medical community will make it much easier and educate people, and then we will have should be a 0 death of colon? I'm gonna hang up and let you guys speak on that.
All right, Kevin. Are you saying COVID or are you saying colon?
I think he's
Colon
talking about
cancer?
colon
He
cancer.
said colon cancer.
Colon cancer. Okay.
All right.
Do you want to? I'm gonna sit back on that one. This one's on y'all. You.
Well, typically with having a primary relative with colon cancer, typically you would start the screening, and I didn't get a chance to ask the gentleman at what age his father had passed or what age he was diagnosed. Typically, you'd start 10 years prior to that person's diagnosis. You'd start doing the colon cancer screenings. As he discussed later on, there are some screenings that are not the gold standard, which is the colonoscopy. There's the Cologuard, which is one of the DNA. It tests for DNA consistent with colon cancer. I guess they get the prevalent
And they get
DNA
that mailed
sequences
to
that
them.
come along with
They
it.
get that mailed to them.
They get it mailed to them. They have that, and they can send it. And oftentimes, I'll have people who just don't, for some reason or another, don't want to do a colonoscopy. So in that case, I say, well, here, will you at least do this? You see, and one thing, if they're told, next screening in 10 years for a colonoscopy, that can be done every 3 years. So you can have 3 done in between the 10 years.
So what is the test that you can check with the blood? So if is that the same? Because colonoscopy, you basically saying you have to be admitted to the hospital, right?
It's an outpatient procedure,
outpatient.
but you do get anesthesia and
Right.
you do have a recovery time.
And you got recovery time. So
Right.
you can't go by yourself. Somebody got to take you
Mhm.
because of the anesthesia wearing off and
Right.
all the rest of the stuff. But I'm trying to figure out what was the test that somebody said. I'm trying to figure out that y'all could take blood and check to see if somebody got a cancer or something of that sort.
Well, I mean, they have for different cancers. You have a CA 125 that's looking for ovarian cancer.
Okay.
You have the PSA where you can look for
The PSA.
prostate cancer.
That's what
Right. Okay. I was gonna say I'm not sure of one for
Were
colon
you thinking
cancer,
about a
but
cold blood? Is that
but
what you're
the
thinking about?
prostate
A cold
specific
blood?
It's prostate.
Okay, well that's PSA.
Yeah. So and sometimes we'll with that we'll follow it in the sense of, and oftentimes with some of the regulation boards will say, well, we don't know if it can be, we can't recommend or say that this shouldn't be done or will be effective. But in my population, we have a higher percentage, and I'm not gonna lie, I check every gentleman 40 and above every year because I mean, how do you put a price on someone's life. So let me do the screening test, and if it's positive, let's go. Because the boards who do that, they look at money spent in evaluating every elevated PSA, so that's what counts against it.
Right.
You know, that I'm more concerned about keeping that person alive.
You had something too, Dr. Flowers, that you wanted to address. One of the callers had said
Sure,
something that you wanted to address.
The statement that Ron made, and it was just kind of in passing, but you know, I've been in New Orleans for 4 years now, and what I have learned is that everybody that talks about it talks about things pre and post Katrina, and now also back when we were in COVID. Those are epic moments. Those are traumatic moments. And literally everybody probably that lives in the Gulf states, they all gear up for a natural disaster every year. Hurricane season, the floodings that happen. And but there's something about that trauma that leaves an impression on the body. And the immune system can be depleted because of the hormones that are released during those times of stress and those times of trauma where you've got that fight or flight going on. Those hormones are only supposed to be in your system for a very short time. When they're in your system for a prolonged amount of time, they start working against you. They're there to give you a boost of energy if you need to run away from a bear or something like that. But when they're in your system for a prolonged amount of time because you're under this constant stress, it begins to erode the immune system. So think of your immune system as a screen door. Remember screen doors?
Mm-hmm.
Screen door is there to keep things out.
Right.
And if you poke a hole in the screen door,
you've
compromised the screen door.
Right.
You can get mosquitoes and flies and all kind of insects in. The more holes you poke in it, the less effective that screen door is. Well, that's kind of how your immune system at work. It's supposed to work to protect you. But when you're under prolonged stress, when you're dealing with this unresolved trauma that actually happened or trauma that you remember or trauma that you're gearing up for, it still has the same effect as if it's actually happening.
But Dr. Flowers, everybody that live in New Orleans that went through that,
exactly.
There's something wrong with that screen door.
Exactly. And that is why we are 50th. We are last for preventable causes of death. I am convinced that there's a correlation between the trauma.
We're last.
We're last. We jockey between 48th and 50 for every preventable cause of death. And we do that with Mississippi and some of our neighboring states, but they experience the same things that we do. But I believe that there's a direct correlation.
And I can also put in, you know, when you talk about that screen door, that's mental health to me. And again, you know, we're talking about other issues too, because I'm one of those that when we start talking about hurricane season, I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go. We're back in it again. We just got out of it. And just listening to some of the folks, when we start talking about bad storms, things that's in the Gulf, I know several folks. And if you have these issues, we want to hear from you, 504-582-9422, that when somebody says that a storm is in the Gulf, immediately they out. They're gone.
Oh, yeah.
They're put the kids in the car. Then they're not going to stay.
That's right.
It was trauma for them. And I was one of them because I stayed.
I stayed during Ida. I came the year before Ida. I stayed during Ida. And I was leasing a house, and it was horrible. It was over 100 degrees in the house. It was cooler outside.
Right.
And so even when I got back to work and the blue tarps were on houses, I would look out my window from my office and I would see an area of the city where it was nothing but blue tarps.
Right.
And all I started thinking of was, are there children in that house? Is there mold that's growing? Are there asthma attacks that are happening? What's going on? And these blue tarps stayed there for a long time.
Yeah.
And the impact of that.
Years. And they did not help a lot of folks that had no insurance, had no transportation, didn't have the funds to move their family to another. I mean, there's so many different people had so many different issues.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't think that we know all of them.
Oh no, and I have watched a lot of documentaries about Katrina, and the last thing I was watching was Katrina Babies, which is a documentary that was done about the kids who were the adults now who were children during Katrina and what they impact
And
how
felt
it
like that
impacted
we
them.
abandoned them.
Yeah.
Or they got abandoned somewhere else, like Houston, or they wanted to come home and they came home and raised themselves, or living in. I mean, we heard so many different stories.
And the things that they saw, bodies floating down the streets, people that they knew.
Yep.
Going to houses and seeing people, where the flood waters came up to the attic.
Yep.
So that trauma stays with you.
Yep. Yeah. I was reading Warren Riley's book. It's called Eye of the Storm. And I can remember him telling me this story, but, to read it in the book, I was like, man, he never forgot that. And then I invited Warren. Warren used to be, for those who don't know, the superintendent of NOPD. And he came here and he was talking about the book. I didn't realize, and he probably still doesn't realize this, because I told him and he was like, nah, but I'm looking at him, right? Just
Still
like you
impacted.
and I. And he went from, hey, G, what's going on, man? Glad to be here, to start telling those stories. And you can see it in his face. You could see the traumatic issues, like he's reliving them.
Yes.
Right.
And I said, man, you really need to, think about seeing somebody. Man, I'm all right.
Going back to
Exactly.
men's health.
There you
And
go. And it never went away. It never went away, because he saw it all. And the one story that he continuously tells, I hope he ain't listening to me right now to make me say something or to him about it later. But the one story he continuously tells me about is when he was in the communications building. And the people is dialing 911 because the water's coming in. And he could hear this man screaming because he was in the attic. The water was coming up in the attic. But he was there with his child, and he was holding on to his child. And he fell asleep and dropped the child in the water.
Oh, wow.
He lost his baby. And he was screaming about that. I was like, are you kidding? He said, no, man, we had to tell the dispatchers to go take a break because they were sitting up there crying. And then, of course, hearing all the people calling and saying, the water's coming in, what am I doing? And having them on the phone until they drown. I was like, man, I couldn't have done that. I really could not have done that. How did you see all of this and still be able to say, all of this is something that happened in my lifetime? Of course, I think releasing it and writing it and putting it in a book was something that was good for us as therapy. But the other part of it is when he tells that story.
He's reliving it.
He's reliving it. And how do you get rid of that trauma?
And well, think about that huge epic moment, but think about in a regular week, how many things are you dealing with? The cumulative effect. Again, that pop bottle.
You got to see Straw.
Okay. All right.
I really don't want to tell it. I really don't want to
tell
tell
it. Don't tell it. I'm going to watch it.
You got to see it, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
In a week, what are you dealing with? And Taraji P. Henson played that part. She played that part. That's all I can say about it anymore.
Okay.
But when
Great
you see
endorsement.
it, when you see it, I want you to call me and tell me, oh my God, I saw it.
Okay.
I'm going to have to be in the mood to cry.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Of course, when I saw it, I was on the plane. I'm like, oh, I watched this on the plane. Yeah, be there in no time. I'm sitting there with this frown on my face. I ended up like boo-hooing on the plane. The stewardess came, sir.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Well, I was looking at social media, and they showed people responding to apparently is one scene in the movie.
It is.
And the people, and just seeing the response was like a spoiler
and they always
for me.
Going like, what?
Yeah, they were cussing and crying and getting up and moving. Yeah, so I watch it. But do you understand that this also affects children?
Yes.
So there is a condition, a situation called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences or Episodes. So when children go through these episodes, like these traumatic events, again, it impacts them too. And so when we see kids with hypertension, when we see kids that are overweight, because eating is a way of soothing yourself. I mean, you get all the pleasure hormones from eating. And I will tell you that in New Orleans,
I don't have this for no reason.
Well, hey, I understand. I completely listen. I get it. And so a lot of people think that the only thing I have control over is what I eat, but that's not even true. Because if you live in a food desert, what choices do you have?
Right, you have no choice.
Exactly.
You have no choice. I ain't gonna hold y'all all day long. I know I was late getting here, and I appreciate y'all hanging with me. But of course, you see that this is important. As many men picked up the phone and felt like they could have that conversation with you about it. So I think that we probably need to do it some other times too as well.
We'll love that. That's really our focus for my department. That's what we're really focusing on this year's Men's Health. We're not only doing a Men's Health Walk again that will take place October 11th at Joe Brown Park.
Okay.
We're also going to have some focus on prostate cancer screening. And we're actually probably going to be doing some work with the American College of Cardiologists.
Oh, okay.
Coming up this year. So we're going to be doing a lot of things around men's health.
Making it happen and making moves at the same time.
That's it.
Congratulations. Dr. Tillery, any final words for you too? Because I know that probably from what men heard today with you, I mean, you were breaking down a whole bunch of stuff. I know that's just your regular conversation. I don't even think you realize what you just did. I ain't saying nothing bad. I'm saying I don't even think you realize just the conversation that you had on the air today with Ed Robinson as well, just like the young man that called in too. There's a level of trust that a man has got to have for another man to ask him, hey, I need you to talk about me.
Definitely.
And that came over. I mean, that was what was talked about, probably being talked about by these men and saying, I feel like I could talk to him. So congratulations on getting that across.
No.
But folks that do want to get in contact with you, said it one time before. How do they get in contact with you?
The scheduling number, it's the general number for the hospital, but you can ask for scheduling is 504-592-6600. And they'll send you to a scheduling department, and we can definitely get you in. We're taking appointments. We have appointments available at the clinic in the East and also on General de Gaulle.
Very good.
And Dr. Tillery is my doctor, and I'm a very satisfied patient.
Oh, really?
Yes, he takes good care of me, and he is very concerned, and he has a way of letting you know how concerned he is. And I appreciate it.
For her to laugh.
Yeah, indeed.
That's a conversation we got to have off the air.
I'm good. Look, I'm almost 50 pounds down. I'm happy about it.
I will say, one thing that I was taught as a man, don't ever say nothing about no woman's weight.
You can always talk about
But you
the
look
upside.
good.
Thank you.
You look very good.
Thank you. I feel good.
You look comfortable.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, very
I
good.
think you looked great before as well.
Thank you, Dr. Tillery.
I'm gonna have to have all them men calling me to talk to her. They got to call to talk to me. I got to do all the,
Don't do the screen.
I'm do all the screen.
Yeah, there you go.
I got you.
Watch out now.
I got you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for being here today. I appreciate everything that you all are doing and LCMC Health is doing too. And don't forget, y'all got the last Wednesday of the month, y'all do something at the New Orleans East Hospital, and that is the farmers market.
Yeah, farmers market. Yeah.
And that is usually in the afternoon on the last Wednesday of the month.
Exactly. Vendors, jam, pepper jelly artisans, a number of things. That
I got you. All right, y'all, we'll take a break here. We'll come back. More coming up.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. The National Black Farmers Association has been pushing for change since the 1980s.
We were organized to help eradicate discrimination at government agencies and state, federal levels. And we've been doing this kind of work for a very, very long time.
That's National Black Farmers Association founder and president John Boyd. Today, he says farmers are facing a new kind of adversity, stemming from the Trump administration's tariff policies.
Many Americans don't know that farmers are price takers. We're not price givers. So My price is based on the market.
Market volatility surrounding tariff uncertainty is impacting almost every industry, including farmers. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
On Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, here's a snippet of some of what we cover. GPS pioneer Gladys West.
We worked long hours computing trajectory orbits and satellite orbits, trying to get the data and everything correct enough.
Auto analyst Mark Bland.
14 new vehicle deals that happen in this country out of every 100 that women don't have a fingerprint on.
To tune in, check out Auto Trends with JeffCars.com, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. 504-582-9422 is my number. Of course, we want to thank all of our friends here from LCMC for coming in and discussing men's health on Men's Health Week and month. Of course, we want to make sure that you are healthy. Make sure that you got the information. Take a listen back on our social media that you'll see later on this evening right here on Facebook at 504-582-9422 or on Facebook where you can call in to get all the information. All right. All right. So coming up at 6 o'clock today, Arnie and Cary, they're going to be here. They have some more conversation with you and get you into the 7 o'clock hour. A couple of things I need to bring up in the news, and I know that, you know, all these different things in the news we didn't have a conversation about earlier today, but there is a lot going on in New Orleans. Ladies and gentlemen, what in the world is going on in the civil district court world where there is one Belden Baptiste? Who? I say, boy. Belden Baptiste, who is not sitting back and wondering what the hell is going on. One Belden Baptiste. Everybody's like, who is Belden Baptiste? Y'all know who Belden Baptiste is? Somebody call me and tell me who Belden Baptiste is. Should I wait? 504-582-9422. That's right, Deirdre. That's Noonie Man. Belden Baptiste. I done called his name. Said, I am not playing with y'all. I have requested information from the Inspector General, Ed Michel, and I ain't playing. So he put in a public records request to get that information since they wouldn't give it to him in the first place. But it's all public information. And he requested a number of things to be provided to him, and they didn't do it. What? He requested a number of things to be provided to him by the Inspector General. And they didn't do it. So he took him to court. Who took him to court? One Belden Baptiste versus Ed Michel. On May 8th, this honorable court issued an order from the bench in open court directing Ed Michel to produce all public records requested by petitioner within 30 days of said order in accordance with Louisiana's Public Records Law, LA Revised Statute 44-1. And in part 2 of this, it says, as the filing of the motion, more than 30 days have elapsed since the court's request for records number 32 and number 34, and Ed Michel has failed to comply, having not turned over all the documents as directed. And in section 3, it says petitioner asserts that this failure is willful, without just cause, and in direct violation of a lawful court request, constituting contempt of court. LACCP Art 22-4 and other applicable laws. This willful noncompliance has obstructed petitioner's legal rights and imposed undue burdens on the exercise of his rights under the Louisiana Constitution and the Louisiana Public Records Request. That Public Records Act, that's what it's called. Wherefore, petitioner Belden Baptiste respectfully prays that his honorable court, number 1, will find Ed Michel in contempt of court for violating the court's May 8th order. 2, compel immediate compliance with the order by requiring Ed Michel to produce all outstanding public records without further delay. Number 3, impose sanctions in the amount of $100 per day for each calendar day past 30-day deadline beginning June 8th that the records have not been produced. Number 4, grant emergency relief to enforce the court's authority and to prevent continued obstruction of justice. And number 5, grant any and all other general and equitable relief deemed just and proper. Ooh. Considering the foregoing motion for contempt and sanctions filed by the petitioner Belden Baptiste, it is hereby ordered that the motion is granted. It is further ordered that Ed Michel, in his official capacity as Inspector General for the City of New Orleans, is found in contempt of court for failure to comply with the court's order issued on May 8th, directing him to turn over all public records requests by petitioner within 30 days. It is further ordered that Ed Michel shall immediately produce all outstanding records responsive to petitioner's requests. It is further ordered that sanctions are imposed in the amount of $100 per day beginning June 8th and continuing until full compliance is achieved. Well, somebody ain't playing. Waiting for that to be signed. And after review of the exhibits provided by the defendant, the plaintiff found that the following relates to the itemized public records requests made by the plaintiff, which is dated February 12, 2025, with amended requests made on February 17. To number one, no responsive files have been provided to date the transparency disclosed to the public's specificity what Michelle Craig and her law firm Transcendent Law was paid. No specific means were provided to Transparency, who authorized the aforementioned law firm. Number two, to date, a written public report was not provided or made available regarding the preliminary investigation. Number three was provided. Number four was provided. Number five, insufficient provided summary reports, but not actual corresponding receipts. This shields from the public as actual expenses. This is substandard to the expectations that his office is imposing on other city employees during the conduct of the OIG investigations. Mr. Michelle should provide receipts to the public that supports the summaries. Number six, not provided. Number seven, no documentation provided from the OIG Human Resources regarding employee feedback or annual moral surveys taken or exit surveys of employees. Number eight, no copy has been provided, although on May 27th, a self-evaluation was ordered by Dane Cialino. The evaluation to nor was Mr. Michelle's self-evaluation not provided. Number nine, emails from OIG staff to the board chair was not provided in full. Insufficient was number 10. We are aware of at least two other complaints that were not contained in the documents provided by the OIG. Number 11, emails from OIG staff to board chair. Number 12, no responsive information provided, third-party review or audits. Number 13, provided. Number 14, not provided. Number 15, insufficient, partially provided. OIG provided incoming inquiries, but did not provide their response to inquiries in some of the sampled files. And number 16, 17, and 18, no responsive documentation provided. Number 19, 20, 21, and 22, no responsive documentation provided. Number 23, provided. Number 24, no responsive documentation provided. Number 25, provided. Number 26, 27, 28, 29, no responsive documentation provided. Number 30, no documentation was provided to substantiate Mr. Michelle's actual attendance at work in the same fashion that he has held others to account and recommended according to the recommendation in his citywide executive time study report. The public has the right to know if Mr. Michelle is abiding by the policies he criticizes in his reports. Number 31, provided. Number 32, no responsive documentation provided. Number 33, the same, and then says citizens have a right to know the checks and balances within the line of financial accounting approvals. And number 34, no responsive documentation provided to demonstrate Mr. Michelle's actual entry into the building where he works. The public has a right to know, as Mr. Michelle's office has solely relied on such tests to criticize and accuse others of not actually showing up to work. Ooh, baby. So, Mr. Belden Baptiste is looking for some answers. is looking for some answers. All right, Kevin.
Hey, man, thank y'all for you bringing up these issues. We wouldn't be hearing about them at all. I just have to say that first. The next thing I want to say is this. Look, Belton Baptiste, I hate to say it, but it sounds like this is somewhat condescending toward what this man is trying to do. Because the bottom line is this. He did that for a reason. He's asking for the most important thing to know for the public to know about is what is he asking for this information for? Is it related to the public best interest? And I think, I'm not sure, I don't know Belton Baptiste personally, but he comes across as one of those very practical people who are addressing issues that affect the black community. So, and the way we present our people who do that, it's somewhat condescending because we never even got to the most important part of all this is why is he addressing the issues that he's asking this? What is he addressing that he needs this information for? Which is the only thing that matters out of all that boilerplate stuff you were just talking about. The only thing that really matters is the end result of what's the goal. What's he looking for this information for? And we're not even assisting each other to publicize why he's even doing this, which is the most important stuff that he needs, Mr. Belton Baptiste, a Noonie man.
You want me to answer it, or you just want to stay with what you're saying?
Well, I mean, hey, it's your show, man. You do what you want to. Matter of fact, I'm going to let it go. I've said everything I want to say.
Okay, I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, I bet you are.
You do?
Yeah, because it sounds like you're just condescending to this young man for being one of the few people in the community that is addressing daily stuff.
So you calling me condescending?
Well, it sounds like it because everything I've heard so much sounds, to be honest, to be condescending towards this man. I mean, it don't take a rocket science to listen to this. And
it don't take a rocket science to listen to you because you say the same thing every time you call. So what's the difference?
I never address Noonie man. I never address
No. You're sounding condescending to everything that calls. Everything you say is condescending.
Well, look, that's dismissive what you're saying, bro.
Yeah,
right
now, I'm being dismissive. You're right. I am.
Okay, well, I hope the black community hear this because we got enough of that in the other community that's doing this.
No, I'm talking to you.
You know, you very little difference between what you're doing and what white folks have been doing to us for the last 400 years.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Now, I'm not saying you don't do good, and you do good.
You did. You just said I'm doing good. You just said I'm not doing
good.
So what are you saying? That's condescending. That's condescending to say something like that and then tell me what you said ain't good.
But we need to start looking at our own selves as well.
Well, we already know what we're talking about here because we've discussed this in the first place, why he was having a conversation about what the information that he wanted that this man has done. He has, number one, as the Inspector General, I asked you, did you want me to explain it or not? You said you do what you want to do.
No, you said you're going to let it go.
You said you were going to let it go. I said, I'm going to let it go too because you evidently ain't understand the conversation.
I was in error. Okay?
Okay. You're the bigger person then. I'm going to let you be the bigger person.
Explain it.
The conversation has been about this man being the Inspector General and should he have that office because there has been some evidence to show that he has had some issues and complaints that have been hidden. Those complaints have been hidden, and we've been trying to figure out why did the Ethics Review Board put him back into a $206,000 a year job when you're trying to hire somebody that's a barista. You remember that? As an OIG. Or you had those folks that have been your employees that wrote these complaints that I read on the air, if you remember. And he wanted to see why all these issues are coming up. What's the budget? What happened as far as all these different things that I just read and that he would not supply? And it's public information. It has nothing to do with being condescending. It is his right as a taxpayer to know. Yours too. That's what it is.
Okay, that's look. Like I said, I appreciate what y'all do every time I say, and I'm not just saying that. I do appreciate it. But my thing is let's talk about we're spending 90% of the time talking about boilerplate stuff. I think we need to keep pounding what specifically he's asking for these records for.
I just told you.
Okay, thanks for the 30 seconds of that.
All right.
But I appreciate it.
All right. It wasn't 30, but it was 29 at least.
Well, a minute. I'm going to give you a minute.
Nah, that's all right. I take
All
the
right,
29.
man. Thanks again, bro.
All right. I just want y'all to understand something. Some people just want to hear themselves talk. Say the same crap every single time that they call, and even call themselves a damn broken record. Break that off in you. More coming up.
AURN News.
Iran will not surrender. That's the fiery vow from Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as Israeli warplanes pound the capital of Tehran for a sixth straight day. But now the world is watching Washington as President Trump inches closer to direct military involvement. In a defiant post, Khamenei mocked Trump's rhetoric and warned that any U.S. intervention would cause irreparable damage. Iran's foreign ministry took it further, telling Al Jazeera that America stepping in would ignite all-out war in the region. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is quietly building up troops and firepower in the Middle East, and Trump is openly taunting Iran's leadership on social media, calling the Ayatollah an, quote, easy target while demanding unconditional surrender. On the ground, Israel says it struck over 1,100 sites, including key nuclear enrichment facilities. Iran has now fired its hypersonic Fata, a move meant to showcase its power. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
We've seen enough, we've heard enough, and damn it, we've had enough. The apparent sentiments of most of the citizens in a just-released poll by political analyst Ron Fauché in reference to all things New Orleans. The survey included some 800 residents polled by phone between May 27th and June 4th. Only 28% of those polled believe the city is moving in the right direction, which, in my opinion, comes as no big surprise. The survey indicates that with a drop in the rate of crime, the city's crumbling infrastructure problem has now become the number one concern. Street repair and maintenance, traffic signals, sewage and drainage. In fact, the Sewage and Water Board scored worst among all city agencies, with an approval rating of only 14%. The survey indicates a dissatisfaction with city leadership in government, with only 27% approving Mayor LaToya Cantrell's job performance overall, and her handling of streets and drainage scores even lower at 21%. No pun intended, folks, but the road ahead for the next mayor is riddled with potholes of frustration and anxiety. And with the next election just a few months away, New Orleans residents are not feeling good about their city. Clearly, they want, need, and deserve a change for the better. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Attention, WBOK listeners. Are you a fan of the station and want to show your support and style? Well, we've got some exciting news for you. Introducing the official WBOK merchandise, the perfect way to wear your love for the station. Whether you're a longtime listener or a new fan, we've got something for everyone. Head to WBOK1230.com now and grab your WBOK gear before it's gone. When you buy WBOK merch, you're not just getting quality items, you're supporting the station you love.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Store, Pastor David Impartan Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 12:30 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Accru NOLA is transforming how professionals connect and grow. Join them for Fed by Accru, a community networking celebration that honors both Juneteenth and Pride Month while celebrating the power of diverse voices in business. This isn't a typical networking. Accru has created a safe, inclusive space where genuine connections lead to meaningful collaborations. On Thursday, June 19th, innovators from across the greater New Orleans area and the Gulf South will gather at the lab on Ursulines Ave for purposeful conversation with industry leaders and authentic relationship building that advances your professional career and business growth. Accru connects you with established industry leaders and emerging entrepreneurs who share practical insight and business resources. These connections translate into real opportunities for career advancement and business growth. Come join a community where authenticity meets opportunity, where diverse perspectives drive innovation, and where meaningful partnerships are built to last. Fed by Accru, Thursday, June 19th from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. at the Lab, 2600 Ursulines Ave. Learn more and join the community at accrunola.com/RSVP.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to wish all of our students, teachers, and administrators a great summer break. Use this break as an opportunity to relax and reflect on all of you've accomplished this year. We can't wait to celebrate your success in the coming months.
WBOK. Listen now on WBOK1230.com.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, tomorrow, big Juneteenth celebrations that are happening too. Attorney Juan LaFonta is going to be hosting a free Juneteenth celebration at the lakefront. The event starts about 6 p.m. There's going to be free food, drinks, and a whole bunch more for the first 100 people. There will be fireworks at 8 p.m. Other people in Dura will host its third Juneteenth Splash Day celebration on tomorrow at 12 p.m., and that's going to go from 12 to 4 at Berman Park. It's open to families and children and is aimed at enhancing family service relationships and reducing crime. There'll also be swimming, free food, drinks, snowballs, face painting games, music, and a whole lot more. Plus, a Freedom Ride bike ride is going to be happening at 56 Dreyfus Drive in City Park. That's on June the 19th, tomorrow, 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. There'll also be a Juneteenth celebration of freedom at 5100 Pontchartrain Boulevard, put on by Lake Lawn Metairie Funeral Home, believe it or not, from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m., and I don't say that disparagingly. There will be a local artist vendors market, food trucks, and a whole bunch of trivia. So we got a lot of stuff happening for Juneteenth. Hope that you celebrate all of that. Let's go back to the phones. Nooney.
Be over the collection.
Hey, Nooney.
Hey, Gerard, how you doing?
Good, Doctor. How you doing?
All right. I think you summed everything up, you know what I'm saying? And it's about the Inspector General and trying to be a control freak with disrespecting black women and other things he's doing, being vindictive by just going after black people. So at the end of the day, we need to know what he's doing and what he's accounting for. So I think you summed it up real good, because when we went to court, the judge told him you in violation of the 5 business days law, and the judge also told him, get it to Mr. Batiste in 30 days. So she helped him. I mean, she gave him a break, but by him not responding in the 30 days, that's like saying I'm going to do what I want. So what I did was file the contempt charge on him because he's violating the law. And if it was one of us, he'll do the same thing.
Right,
and
or worse.
To let everybody know, you said it best, Gerard, you can file public records to know where your sewage and water board, energy, or any money that's with the city or the governor.
That's
you can
taxpayers'
file a
money.
public request.
Right, that's taxpayers'
That's
money.
right. That's
And
right.
you
So
didn't
I
do
just
anything,
wanted to clear that up.
And you didn't do anything to be vindictive or to say that you were doing something because somebody just said you wanted to do it. This is taxpayers' money.
That's right.
And we've had conversations about what this is for. So
that's right.
And
that's why I didn't go into all the details, you know. But when you got Inspector General telling women he want to shelve objects of their private part, and he want to do certain acts and all that, he should be held accountable. I don't care who he is.
Right.
He should not be above the law.
What's next?
So
what are you waiting for?
What's next? We just waiting on the judge to sign the papers. Once the judge sign the papers, he's in contempt. He got to produce the documents and pay like $100 a day for violating the law.
Right.
And if I get the money, I'm going to give it to charity.
There you go. There you go. We'll talk about this more. I want to find out some more. So don't think we just finished with this. I just wanted to read it today to get the news out there. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you,
We got
Gerard.
more to talk about too.
All right.
I'll talk to you
All
later.
right. Yeah. All right.
Ooh, Lord. Y'all, that's going to wrap things up for me. I will see y'all on tomorrow. Whatever you do, safely and carefully is the way we want you to do it. Happy Juneteenth to y'all. Arnie and Carrie up next.